sure.
Good morning, everybody. Hope everyone is doing well this morning. Happy Thursday, or Friday Junior, as I like to call it. My name is Abby Quinn. I'm a Federal Customer Success Manager. I will be hosting today's session on Teams and application integration. I will be assisted and joined by my colleague and good friend, Adam Shao. And then we have a few people behind the scenes over here to answer some of y'all's questions. Today's session is going to be a live event, so that means that we're going to be like live streaming, a live broadcast, similar to Skype broadcast. And the way that we'll interact is through the moderated question and answer. So if you guys see a little like a dialog box with a question mark in it, that's where you guys can submit your questions. And that question might be answered live by myself if it pertains to the larger group, or it might be a private response by one of our team members back here behind the scenes. So I'll do a quick audio check just to make sure everybody can hear me. On live events, we've got about a 20-second delay, so that's what you guys are hearing now, but I'll double check on audio right now and see how we're doing. If I could get y'all to just say hear ya or sounds good, I'll keep us going. And making sure
Sounds good to me, Abby.
Thanks, Adam. Making sure you guys can see my screen too. I am not operating on a double monitor system today, so bear with me, please.
I can see your screen just fine.
Okay, awesome. It's funny, on live events, it'll pause your shared screen whenever you go back to the producer window, so that's interesting. No one has said they can hear me yet, so I'm nervous.
Yeah, no questions coming in yet.
Okay. Should I just get started, you think?
Yeah, I'd say so.
All right, let's go ahead and get started. So today we're going to talk about the way that Teams interacts with other applications. But for those of you that maybe have just gotten used to Teams or maybe just signed in for the very first time, Microsoft Teams is a huge hub that Microsoft has created to emphasize the need for collaboration and the increased need that we have right now for mobile work, telework, and working across virtual teams that span a nation or possibly the globe. And as I can imagine, Teams has probably been on the forefront of your mind or your radar recently, as we've all started working from home and navigated the intricacies of collaborating while you're not necessarily in the same physical space. So a quick brief overview of Microsoft Teams in the government. So we currently have Microsoft Teams launched out to a very large majority of federal organizations. That spans from huge, let's say, organizations that like to fly planes down to smaller organizations that just have 100 to 300 seats involved with their communications. So it's widespread and it's being heavily adopted, rapidly adopted. Teams encompasses chat functionality like you're used to with Skype. I like to say that we took the features of Skype, upgraded them, made them better, flipped them upside down and turned them purple. And that's what Microsoft Teams is. But Teams really allows you to focus on collaboration with your peer group, your work group, and I think it's a great way to organize projects, and we've allowed and created the ability to integrate applications into your Teams interface. As you grow your expertise within Teams, you can add more to that experience, whether that's Office products or third-party applications, or we will go over today also the ability to add features through the website tab, which gives you the ability to pull things from the internet and put them directly into Teams. One of the big pieces of research that Teams was built on is that it actually takes 8 seconds for your brain to rewire itself when you switch screens. So for those 8 seconds, you're kind of distracted when you go from, say, the PowerPoint desktop application to your browser, back to Teams, back to Outlook. So there's 24 seconds, 32 seconds roughly in that span of time that you're missing out on because your brain has to rewire itself to focus on what's right in front of you. So the Purple Teams portal is what I like to call it, where you basically can focus your attention and you can stay within the same screen. You have access to your chats, your calendar, your meetings, and you're able to actually integrate other applications into Teams and stay right there where it's important. Another piece of Teams and why it's been so greatly adopted and widely anticipated is because our main goal is also to get you out of Outlook. I don't know about y'all, but I probably spend, it's a lot less now because of Teams, but I would probably spend 2 hours a day filtering through emails, deciding whether or not I needed to keep it or delete it, or if they sent it to the right person, or which folder to put this in, or is this spam? And Teams was created to help alleviate some of that filtering stress, and because going through emails is not a part of anyone's job description. So enter Teams. That's what we hope to alleviate some of that stress and pain when it comes to filtering through your Outlook inbox. So we've created some applications to help with that piece, as well as created applications that integrate into Teams that you're already familiar with using, like Word, OneNote, PowerPoint, SharePoint even. And then a few that are new, like Stream, Power BI. Those you might not be super familiar with, and we'll touch on those today, as well as Planner, which is a really fun one. It's task-oriented and project-oriented. I really like it. We use it internally pretty heavily. And then we'll go briefly over Website Tab and briefly over some third-party applications. As I said, I'm joined by Adam, so Adam, feel free to jump in anytime you need to, and we'll go ahead and get started. Are there any audio issues or anything I should be aware of just now?
Nope, we have some questions and people chiming in saying they can see and hear you great. So I think we are good to go.
Awesome. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I'm just on the PowerPoint, but we're going to go ahead and kick things off with, let's go ahead and I'll just show you guys my Teams demo. I have to stop sharing really quick to switch over. So let me go into the all right. So just for the sake of my demonstration today, I want to let everybody know that this is a demo environment. This is a Teams demo and demonstration environment that we've created that we have access to. And so it's going to be a little bit, it looks like it has a lot of content, but it's not fully enriched with content. It's not like this is what I use internally every day. But this is going to be the environment that you're used to that has the GCC abilities and some of those limitations. So everything that you should see on my screen, you should be able to see on your own. And I do encourage you all, as we're going through this, please feel free to open up your own Teams, play around with what I'm doing. I would definitely recommend doing this in your desktop application. As you can see, I'm in the browser right now, so some functionality is going to be limited by that alone, the fact that I'm in the browser. But I will try to do my best to let you guys know whenever things should look different for you. And feel free to ask any questions about that. For those of you that don't know, all federal customers are in either GCC, which is Government Community Cloud, DoD, or GCC High. And that just basically means that you don't have the exact same capabilities that we have for our commercial customers. Just because of FedRAMP and other government restrictions, we do have to make sure that we do an added layer of security and make sure that we are keeping all of your information even more private than we would some of our commercial customers. So just keep that in mind, and I'll do my best to kind of illuminate anything that needs to be delineated as far as what is available in GCC and what's not. And we'll go ahead and kick things off. So for those of you that have worked with Teams before, you'll notice I'm in my Teams panel here, and these are all the teams that I'm currently a part of. And I'm going to go ahead and show you guys what it would look like to add some of our Office products. Really quick though, one way to kind of tell where you can access applications and the applications that you've been using is going to your office.com. This is going to be where you can see everything that you've accessed and everything that you could potentially have access to. So this is a great place to maybe start, or just if you're curious to do some research on what's available within applications, you can always take a look here. And Adam, these are all apps that are available in the space, right? Not just all apps.
Yeah. Yeah. So in GCC, just to kind of cover, we're first going to cover in this part of the presentation, like the Microsoft apps. Pretty much across the board, those Microsoft apps are available to everyone in the GCC cloud, GCC High, and DoD. There might be a minor exception here or there, but pretty much they all should be available for all clouds. And then once we get to third-party applications, because we'll get some of these questions in the Windows too, so I'll just kind of address it up front here. The third-party applications, those can be enabled if you're in GCC, which are typically our civilian customers. So if you know which cloud instance you're in, or if you're in a civilian agency, you probably have access to all the Microsoft apps, and then also you could have access to the third-party apps, but it first needs to be turned on by an administrator. So there's that piece of it.
Okay, awesome. Thanks for that, Adam. I'm going to go ahead and just show you guys what it would look like to add a tab and to use that tab to add a Microsoft application. So for those of you that do not know, I've used this as the tab bar. In every single team, you have channels by default. You've got your general channel here. And then beyond that, each channel always has a post section, a file section, and a wiki section, like a tab that's already pinned. All of these other ones we've pinned those manually. So each by default, each channel comes with those three. I'm going to go to a little bit of like a less busy channel. Yeah, daily dog pictures, great. So this is an example of a channel called the Human Resources Water Cooler, which is something that we've done at Microsoft to kind of support a little bit of offline conversations, kind of that virtual water cooler, because no one actually is at a physical water cooler right now. We've got some channels that we've created to help us get, a few laughs in and boost morale. So maybe a little tip for working from home for those of you that are in desperate need of some hot gossip, make a water cooler channel. So to add a tab or to add an application, you select this little plus sign. And this plus sign will take you to, this is also a great place because if you select that plus sign, it should give you only the options that are available within your environment. So for example, these are going to be the Microsoft applications that we were just previously mentioning. I'm going to go ahead and show you one of my favorite applications to add into any channel, which is the OneNote. I personally don't like using the wiki. I think it's a little less organized, whereas OneNote allows you to have a little bit more flexibility, and you can actually add sections and make it, I think, a little bit more intuitive for the user. So we're going to call this one. I am just going to tell you guys, I am so bad at making up examples on the spot like this, and you'd think that after doing this training, out of 56 times, that I'd be better at it, but it's still just on-the-fly examples are not easy. So we've got our hot gossip OneNote here, and you can go ahead and section this. You always want to make sure you select edit because it's always going to open up to read only by default, but here's where you can add sections and pages, and this is going to be viewable to everyone within this channel. And as you see, there's not a little lock on this channel, so that lock indicates a private channel. Since the absence of the lock here indicates a public channel, that means that everyone who is in the work from home water cooler team will have access to what is visible in this channel. On the flip side of that, for those of you that don't know, because private channels did just get released in the past couple weeks, these private channels, unless you are a member of them, you will not even see them. So I'm a member of the Leadership Water Cooler channel, so therefore I see it. But if I wasn't, I would not even see this as a channel. So that's a new feature that we have, which is really great because you do maybe have sometimes you have got some sensitive information, or you're doing some leadership discussions, or there's leadership deliverables that you don't necessarily want everyone in your work group to see. That private channel is a really great way to do that. So this is how you would use OneNote. So let's say anything to add there?
Hey,
is that
real quick.
Oh, yeah.
In the upper right-hand corner of Edge, do you think you could click on that ellipsis and zoom in just a little bit?
Sure. I thought you might tell me to do that, Shane.
There we go. Awesome. Appreciate it.
Sure thing. I hope that's a little bit better. So yeah, this just functions as a OneNote. Pretty self-explanatory if you've used OneNote before. And we use this a lot. This is kind of a place where we take meeting notes. If we do our daily stand-ups or whenever we do our weekly check-ins, we'll do meeting notes here. And I just think it's a little bit more organized than the wiki, but don't quote me on that. And wiki's great.
And what I'll say about OneNote too, for those who haven't tried it out before, definitely recommend just giving it a try. If you keep like notes in Word, you'll never go back to that once you try OneNote. It just works so much better. And really, you can think of it kind of almost like a big whiteboard, you know, and it's very kind of free flowing. So Abby's going to show it more, but just so you know, it's less restrictive than like a Word document would be, which really helps for like taking notes and also for doodling and that kind of stuff.
Right, and I'm trying to see, since I zoomed in, I can't, where's the little draw button? Oh, duh, draw. And if you have the dandy Surface Pen, you can, you know, it's easy to doodle, easy to draw notes here. You can box things up if you were to do some sort of like, you know, it's fun to sometimes use pen to paper in a way, but you can also use your mouse if you don't have a Surface Pen. Shameless plug there. But so yeah, I like OneNote. It gives you a lot of flexibility. I think that it also makes it easy since, you know, Whiteboard isn't available. Like Adam said, it's a great kind of substitution for the whiteboard functionality. So thanks Adam for adding that in. And I will go ahead and move on to, I want to show Planner. Planner is one of my personal favorite Microsoft.
Can I say one more quick thing on OneNote? Sorry, Abby. If you don't mind. Hey, also, just you can think of OneNote in two ways, I think, in terms of, you know, for teams, when you add that OneNote, it's really going to be for the team, right? So like everyone that's in that team has access to that OneNote. So you can think of it as like a way to collectively, you know, add notes, or let's say, you know, what we've used it before is if some of us go to a conference that other people can't go to, then we might like spin up a new section for the conference and we all take notes, and everybody who didn't go to the conference can go and view it. So it's a great way to just sort of share stuff like that together. You can also add OneNote directly in your OneDrive if you want a personal notebook too. So you can use it, you know, either through Teams for more of that team scenario, or you can also use it just as a personal private OneNote that you can keep your private notes in and that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. I use OneNote for all of my account notes. It's great, and I like that it feels like a binder. You can keep sections divided and everything, and I feel pretty organized whenever I use it because I'm trying to get away from being organized chaos and just getting to that organized phase. But great little teaser on OneNote. I'm going to switch over to Planner just because I think that it's another really great application that not a lot of people are using, but I find it really, really useful. So we're going to go to this communications team. I'm in the general channel. Actually, let's create a new channel. Let's do add channel, communications planning. And I made it, as you guys saw that privacy, I made it accessible to everyone. So it's a public channel. I'm going to go here. And again, as you see, these three little tabs up here are always going to be there by default. I'm going to select this plus sign and go to Planner, this green button here. It does almost look, Adam, like an upside down Gantt chart. I think that's what they were going for.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Although you can't really, you know, so
Right.
so the way that I think, yeah, I do too. The way I think about Planner is, you know, if you've used Microsoft Project before, that's for really like robust, like project management, right? It's a great tool for that. Planner is not that. Planner is a lot more lightweight, but also really intuitive and easy to use. So, so anyway, it's a great way to just kind of keep track of tasks, to assign people to tasks, to put deadlines into tasks, and then to move those tasks around in different stages. So Abby will show us how to do all
Right. And to just kind of piggyback off of that, I like that it's not heavy like Project. I think that I used Project in college, but I haven't had to use it much at Microsoft the past couple of years. So I like that it's a little bit more of like a user-friendly. It's not a project management tool. It is a let's hold everyone accountable. Let's make sure we're on schedule, and let's see what everyone's doing and how people are moving along with each task that gets assigned to them. So I like that it's super, what's the word? digestible, I guess, kind of. You don't have to, you can definitely handle what you see here. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys what happens. So I made a planner here. I added it to my tab bar, so it's going to stay there. And what automatically happens is it creates these buckets. It makes a to-do bucket by default, but then you can actually add new buckets, which basically is just a section of tasks. I'm just going to stay within this to-do bucket. Is next week. I cannot believe that. 2020 is actually 10 years long. So here we have our bucket to do by July 1st. I can add a task here, and that's what this will look like. Let's do comms plan for HR again. Yeah. It allows you to set a due date here. We're going to make that obviously July 1st. And then you can assign it to multiple people. Oh, look at that, Adam. We're both here. I will assign it to both of us. And go ahead and select that add task. And then to take things a step further, you can actually select this task. You just click on it and it gives you more options. You can indicate your progress here, completed, in progress, or not started. You can prioritize it. As an owner of this team, I'm actually going to make this super important. Indicates with a little exclamation point. Start date, you can indicate that here. Due date, type notes in as well. And then also, I really like this feature because I like to piece out my tasks like into steps, because I'm really one of those people that loves to put the check mark in the box. So you can actually create a checklist within this. So you can do create template, and then publish template, create form, I don't know. And basically you can kind of indicate where you are at with each of these checklist items. So I think that's a really cool feature add. And then when you're done, if you have a deliverable or final product, you can actually put it right here. You can add the attachment. You can also leave comments and send those to the people that are in this team, in this channel. And then take it a step further, you can actually delineate people. So, and I can make this a pink task. So that's just a little bit into how it gets. You can see the little pink post-it. I like to think of it like if you were to put a bunch of tasks on a whiteboard or a dry erase board at the office. Think of this as your, virtual giant dry erase board, basically. So I really like Planner, and then the way that it kind of helps me too is you actually get a view. You get two different visuals. You can see the status in this kind of like chart view where you can imagine having 20 or 30 tasks and you can see exactly where everything lands. You can also see it on a calendar view, which is useful to see due dates and when things are due, and who is getting behind or who needs to be made aware. Oh, there it is, July 1st. So maybe on Monday the 29th, I'm going to shoot Adam a message and say, hey, how are we doing? We have a due date of, we have a deadline of Wednesday. Is there anything that we need to catch up on? So I like that Planner gives you the option. As I said before, I do not like Project because it is just so heavy and kind of difficult to pinpoint where everyone is in the project. So I enjoy this viewpoint and I like the visuals that go along with Planner. That is Planner kind of in a nutshell. Did we have any questions about Planner or anything that anyone wanted me to go over again?
No questions so far. There's actually still answering some questions around OneNote. But yeah, please feel free if you have any questions about Planner, how it works. We can also spend a whole hour showing Planner functionality. So we're not going super in depth. We're giving you kind of like a high level of what's available. But if you'd like to see us or would like Abby to demonstrate something, feel free to put it in the queue and we'll get to it. Yep.
And also we are gonna be, Adam, if you wanna throw that, or Shane, if you wanna throw that, we have a survey actually right now. We're trying to get some feedback. I've been tasked with continuing on these trainings for the next 12 months. So I'm looking for some feedback on how to make this experience better for y'all. So we do have just a quick 5-minute survey if you guys wanted to input anything that you think was missing or is something you wanted to see, because I know we've been doing these for 4 months now. So thanks. Sorry, I'll get back to your regularly.
Yeah, I just posted it. You bet.
Thanks, Adam. Okay, so let's see. We've gone through Planner and OneNote. I think what we'll do next is let's talk a little bit about Stream, because Stream is kind of foreign to some people. It's a So I think of Stream as like Microsoft's YouTube, kind of. Let me make sure. Can you guys see this when I switch, or did it only go to my first page?
We can see Stream, looking good.
Awesome. So this is Stream. It's it's kind of like YouTube. It's where we upload videos, and in case you didn't know, every live event is by default through Teams. It is recorded, and so in the behind the scenes back end of things, it's always being recorded and stored in Stream. And Stream is like basically a great place to create content. You can upload videos here. You can edit them. You can look for what else is available in your organization, what other people have uploaded and created. There's ways to create channels and groups here. So Stream's pretty great. It might not be enabled in your environment. If it's not, that's no big deal. If you do host a live event, you would still be able to record a meeting. And that's totally cool. It would be the exact same thing. You would just have to download it directly from Teams. So you can, shocker, you can actually upload Stream as a tab that is pinned in your channels. So for this communications team, I'm going to go up here again to my plus sign, and I'm going to go to Stream. And you can pull from the Stream website. Let's see. Let's go to my content. I will pull a video from here. We'll pretend like this is. So you do need a URL, like a video that you're pulling to. So a great use case for this is, let's say that you do a weekly stand-up call that you record every week, and you want to put that into a pinned situation. You can actually, so I'll do our daily stand-up calls. So let's say that some of your teammates couldn't join that call this week for whatever reason, or today for whatever reason. You can have someone on your team in charge of automatically pinning that to a tab bar, or you can create a channel within Stream that will house all of those daily calls, and you would pin the channel to the tab bar as well. So those are two ways that you can do that. And so I'm going to save it, and then it goes, as you can see, it'll take me directly to that video that I just showed you guys, that 16-second video. So I think this is really cool. One of the hardest things I think is, as we are growing into digital transformation and everything being virtual, one of the things that I've noticed is there's just constant information and constant resources being thrown at me all the time. And I think that the tab bar allows you to consolidate that. Where is what my manager said last week? Where is that video? Where is that document? How do I get back to this? So recall is recall, but this is a great way to help us spend less time with our brows furrowed trying to remember where things were. I think that this is a really efficient way to help people remember where to find things, is this tab bar. And if it's not so zoomed in, you typically do see probably 5 or 6 tabs up here. So yeah, you can, as I said, avoid going to different screens. You can see this, you can play it here. You don't have to switch to Stream. You don't have to open a browser. You would just be able to play here directly. And just to show you, let's see, I don't know if I have any channels created, but let's see. I can spin one up really quickly, and I'll show you what it looks like if we do a channel. Wow, when people watch you typing, it's different. Let's do that. All right, so now I've made a channel, and I'm going to copy that URL. And when I go back to my plus sign and I want to add Stream again, instead of selecting a video, I selected channel. And I'm going to put in that channel. So we've got, there it is, it auto populates. We'll save that. And then, as you will see shortly, it just takes us directly to what is available. So if there were, 7 videos from the past week, they would populate here, and you'd be able to view them right here in Teams. So super cool feature, super user-friendly, and definitely a lot easier for your team to know where the information is. Especially as maybe if your organization is sending out some work from home tips or work from home guidelines, or maybe some all hands would be another great use case. If you've got 2 hours of content that everyone in your organization needs to see, posting that into a big channel or a big team is a great way to make sure that that knowledge is shared amongst everyone in your organization. So that was a quick spin up of Stream. Any other questions about Stream or even recording? If there's any questions about recording a meeting.
There was one question that I already answered, but they asking what file format. So like if they're interested in downloading the video from Stream and then editing it using like another video editor, just so you know, in Stream directly, you can do like really basic video editing, and I think you can trim the video. I think that might be the only thing you can do, but you can trim like the beginning or the end of it if you'd like. But it's pretty basic. So if you want to do more advanced editing, you could download that, and the default file format is an MP4. So
awesome. Yep. And I haven't ever ran into a problem with like uploading files to Teams or anything size-wise. The only thing that will maybe stop you on Teams if you're trying to upload a file, if it's an MP4 or whatever, if it's those new like 4K, like, I don't know how to talk about it because I'm no expert, but the really fancy new movie styles, those are going to be like, they're going to take up quite a bit of space in Teams. So I would just stick to regular old MP4s or video files if you're going to upload them or pin them as a tab. So Adam, did you want to share anything else about Stream?
The other thing about Stream, and this is really maybe if you are doing training for your agency, what's nice is it has a lot of the features that if you're familiar with YouTube, that YouTube has. So like for instance, you can set up like a channel in Stream, and then you could host like a series of videos. Like let's say that you have a recording session, like maybe a brown bag recording session on Teams. Let's say like you're training your organization on how to use Teams, and you have like an intro and an advanced and one on meetings or whatever. What you could do is you could create a channel around Teams training and then post all of those in like sequential order, like the order you'd want people to view them in. And then people can choose to like subscribe to those channels if it's made public for the organization. And then they can go in and watch those in order. So it's a really nice way, like if you want to provide training content or if you're consolidating any kind of like video content in that way, Stream does a really nice way to do that. And also you can discover other videos that other people in your organizations have made public. So like, let's say that there's another team that's working on something that you're interested on. If they have public videos, then what you can do is you can go and sign up for their channel, or you can even follow like, them and see what they post. And you can kind of keep up to date on the different videos that are coming out through Stream as well. So it's a pretty cool tool.
Yeah, exactly. It really does kind of embody the YouTube mentality as far as playlists go, and if you curate some content together, and I think onboarding is a perfect example, Adam, as far as here's 7 videos, watch them in order, they're 5 minutes long, you're done after 30 minutes, here you go, here's a Stream channel. So I think that's a great addition. Thank you.
Yeah, and we also had someone just sort of give a comment. This is more of like a public service warning than anything else, but it sounds like there were some issues when some people tried to download the transcript and then re-upload the transcript, which I've never done.
Mm-hmm.
And then somehow that like corrupted the timestamps and they couldn't then use the transcript after trying to do that. So anyway, I don't know. I don't have all the context there, but you might want to be careful if you're trying to upload the transcript, in an entirely new way. That might be an issue. And Abby, did you already cover, I was kind of sort of answering questions, did you already cover transcription in Stream?
I did not, no. I actually didn't touch on it, but I can show.
Maybe we could show that real quick. Yeah, that's a pretty cool feature.
I don't have any good videos for that because I don't know if I spoke on any of these, but we've got.
That's okay. Yeah, so basically, so it's something that for the video has to be turned on. So Abby hasn't turned it on for this video, so it's just not popping up. But essentially, if you go on just type in Stream, there's some videos online. You can see what it looks like. But basically, Stream will do transcription on your videos automatically, which is really, really cool, right? So if you upload a video into Stream and you turn on that transcription for the video, then it will make, use machine learning on the back end to create a transcript file, and then you can go through and actually like search for terms in that transcript file. So like let's say if the video is an hour long and you're really interested in Teams, Microsoft Teams, and that's only like 10 minutes of the hour-long video, you could search Microsoft Teams and then it would find that those words in the transcript, and then it would fast forward the video to that point in time, so you can quickly like view that section of it. So it's really great from an accessibility standpoint, from a 508 compliance standpoint, a really, really nice feature that everything that you upload in Stream can can be automatically transcribed.
Absolutely, thank you for that. And obviously this wasn't turned on either, or there was just no speaking in this, but this is kind of what it would look like. You'd have almost like a script right here, and you would be able to search right here if this transcription was enabled for that particular recording. So thank you, Adam. I'm going to go ahead and just really quickly, last but not least, kind of go over some of the Office product apps like Word and PowerPoint and Excel and what that would look like. And then we'll touch a little bit on Power BI. So I'm in my communications planning. Let's go ahead and pretend that we need to create a bulletin and talk about, as I mentioned before, maybe some work from home guidelines. So you can actually go ahead and bring in a whole new document, and you'd be able to. So I don't have any Word documents right here, but basically you would be able to name your tab work from home guidelines, and then you would be able to either pull that in from an existing folder already, or you would be able to create your own, you can create your own file as well. So maybe I can just show how to create a file really quick. Go over here to Files, and we're going to do a new file, new Word document, work from home. And as you can see, it opens up that document right here. So you can start typing it in just as though you were already in if you were using your desktop application. And then let's see if I can go ahead and import that over here. Yep, there it is. So we'll call this work from. Select that document, and what it's going to do is it's going to pin that document right up there to the tab bar. So now you're going to be able to, let's say this is going to be a collaborative ongoing document that several people are co-authoring. You'd be able to have that up here on your tab bar right next to your planner posts, and you're going to be able to access that at all times. When you select this edit button, again, it's going to take you right into an edit format that's already present within Teams. It's going to be similar to the browser experience, so you're going to have just a slight twinge in the abilities that you have and the features that are available. But you can always open in a desktop app if you want to do something a little bit more dynamic or more difficult as far as editing goes. And this is where you'd be able to co-author that document in real time right here. And it would stay right here up here in the tabs. And again, super quick, easy way to find things. I love using the pinned documents. I also use this for PowerPoint. So as you can see, when I select the plus sign again, you've got PowerPoint and you have Excel. So those are going to be those three applications I hope you're relatively used to using. And it's rather self-explanatory as far as pinning them to the tab bar. You would just have access to them without stop. So quick explanation for Office applications. And we will go into Power BI. And Adam, you explained this very well. So Power BI, when you use it with Teams, it's a really great way to give visuals to a set of data or some information. Power BI integration into Teams is pretty seamless, and it's actually a really great way to, again, distribute information. So you would go up here again to your plus sign, click Power BI, and you would most likely have some of the saved data already available, so it would auto-populate here. And these are just different channels that are available. But Adam, as far as showing Power BI, do we do like a data set, or should I go make something right now?
It's probably it might take like 5 minutes, so maybe a little bit too long doing the fly. But yeah, there's a bunch of public data sets that are available for Power BI. So really what the plugin does into Teams is it allows you to publish a dashboard and surface it into Teams. So if you've used Power BI before for dashboards, for any kind of data management, it's a really nice tool. You can zoom into stuff, zoom out of data. Let's say if you had, the data set that we had before was an HR data set, and it showed what percentage of the workforce was male versus female. And if you clicked, female, then all of the associated stats would pop up for that group, right? So it's like a way to slice and dice data in a pretty intuitive way. And what you can do is you can publish, you can actually create the report, and then you can publish it up into Teams. So that, so for instance, if you have a manager that wants to use a dashboard, you wouldn't want to give that manager access to the dashboard unless they're also like a Power BI Pro, right? But you do want them to be able to use it and edit it. So what you can do is you can publish it up into a Teams tab for them, and then they know exactly where it's at. They can click it, they can play around with it, and then anytime that you want to update for him or her, you can just you do that, and then it'll seamlessly update into that tab as well. So it's a really nice data visualization tool that plugs into Teams.
Right. And I will say, I didn't know this, but I just did it. If you click on that plus sign, and if you're doing this at home, folks, with me, and you select Power BI, this little link pops up, and it took me right to a great landing page as far as having some Power BI tips and tricks and how to use Power BI. It looked like there was a pretty cool video down here, so the guided learning, I think, would be interesting to watch if you guys are not used to using Power BI. As you can tell, I'm obviously very clearly not used to using Power BI. I don't do a lot of dashboards just yet, but I do know that whenever we have data and information that needs to be shared, it's a really great way to visualize what we're looking at, especially whenever you have a bunch of numbers or if you're trying to ascertain a particular statistic. I know that Power BI is really great for that functionality. So sorry, I don't have more to share on Power BI. Maybe for next time I'll actually create a data set and upload it so that we can have something to go off of. But brief overview for Power BI. Let's go take a look at what we are. I'm going to quit sharing really quick and go back to the PowerPoint. And let's see what we've covered so far and what we have yet to cover. Oh, there it is. Okay, so got Excel, Word, OneNote, Planner, Stream, Power BI. Oh, yeah, let's touch on some SharePoint pieces, and then I will feed right into the website tab, you guys. That's perfect. Okay. Any questions over there, Adam or Shane?
No, we did have a request to review forms at some point. So
Okay.
there's definitely some interest in forms, but nothing that we are not sort of answering on the fly, I don't think.
Okay. Sounds good. So I'll go back down here to our HR water cooler section. And for those of you that are really used to using SharePoint, I like to say that SharePoint and Teams are kind of like sisters, not twins. They're not going to have the exact same functionality, but you will be able to kind of have like a an image repository that helps you go into a SharePoint document library or go into a SharePoint site. But the functionality with SharePoint is going to be different than the functionality that exists in Teams. So a way that you can do this is, as you can see, we've got document library. And again, I don't exactly have a ton of sites here to use as an example, but it would take you to the document libraries that you already have within SharePoint. So let's do this guy, and we're just gonna click next. And it would go into, it's gonna be in my tab here. So as you can see, it's going to pull the document library, and then you can access those files that were in that library from Teams directly. So for those of you that are really used to using SharePoint and maybe a little skeptical of Teams, a great way to get maybe your feet wet and get more comfortable, start using the document library functionality to help your team get a little bit more situated and a little bit more comfortable. But then I recommend definitely using the file sharing and storage within Teams whenever you're more comfortable.
And there's a question, can you pin documents in that document library? Like, is there a way to do that?
Oh, let's see. So I don't think so. From what this is telling me, let's go to the shared documents, and I'll just click on this to see. So not directly from this, I would open that document and then I would save it to Teams or to your computer, and I would then pin that using what I just showed you guys with the Word or the PowerPoint, depending on what kind of file it was.
Got it. Yeah. Okay. And I'm just sort of going back and forth with someone on this. So with the document library, like, so the underlying architecture of it is you're bringing in like, let's say if you have like a SharePoint 2010 or like your current old SharePoint site that you have files on, you can use the SharePoint, the document library tab in Teams to surface like a mirror image of what those folders and files are, so without actually migrating anything over. So by using that, it's almost like you can think of it as like a window to see what your old site is, to kind of have easy access to it. And then you can like use that to maybe download and re-upload files that you need in your new team site. But anyway, that's the SharePoint document library tab. That's what that does. It's like a mirror of your older SharePoint site you can connect to, just for easy access through Teams. Hopefully that wasn't too much of an aside, Abby.
No. Awesome description. I think that, I've been at Microsoft for 2 years, and I think I've used SharePoint twice, Adam, so you're probably more of an expert than I am. So happy to have your help there. But on that same note, you can directly pull in a SharePoint site in its entirety, and it'll do the exact same thing that Adam was kind of talking about. It'll be like a mirror kind of situation where you can add a page or a list here from SharePoint. So that is SharePoint. And then I think there's actually a open directly in SharePoint button. Yeah, so if you are just confused on how to use Teams and SharePoint at the same time, it will take you directly to this document library if you select this ellipses, or if you're not quite as zoomed in as I am, it should just appear on the right hand side here. So all right, and with that, I'm going to go ahead and go into the website tab, and I'm going to test something out for myself because I want to see what this does. I'm going to add a video as the website. Funniest dogs and cats. That's obviously what we need. I don't know what that's doing. Okay, so we're going to go back to our team here, go to our water cooler page, and select our addition. So website tab is kind of like a great workaround as far as, maybe you don't have all the applications enabled in your agency and you need a workaround to get access to some things. And a common example that I see a lot of my customers using is the SharePoint calendar, kind of the group SharePoint calendar within SharePoint, using that link. So unfortunately, since as I said before at the beginning of our presentation today, because I am in a browser, I don't have the same functionality that you're going to have at home, guys. And so when I click this plus sign, you do not see a website tab, but you should see like a hot pink website little icon here. And essentially you click on that, it takes you to another page and it prompts you to just input a URL. And that URL is going to be directly pinned to the tab bar. So since Teams does not at this time have a shared calendar capability, I oftentimes tell my customers to use their SharePoint calendars that are obviously group oriented. I go to that in your browser, select that URL, and then copy and paste it into the website tab itself. That will help whenever you are trying to navigate towards scheduling with each other, or if there's another frequently used landing page within your team, or maybe even just your organization's front page of the website. Sometimes there's news posted there. That's another great use case for adding a website tab to your tab bar so that you have more accessibility to that through Teams. But please don't hesitate. Go ahead and click that plus sign and make sure that website tab is available. It does need to be enabled. If it is not enabled, I strongly urge you guys to go to your IT or your agency department to suggest it, because I do think that it is a great way to implement some of the capabilities that may not be available in GCC at this time. But it's a great feature and definitely a good workaround for some things. And again, Adam, if you want to add anything to that, or if we've got any questions on the website.
Yeah. So with the website tab, what's really nice is you can bring in like any external website, right? Like let's say you have any external content that you want to bring in, or even like other things that you access as a team via browser. I mean, it could be like another web app or another service, like whatever you want to bring in. You can use the website tab to do that. Some website, just heads up, like a very small percentage will actually turn off the ability to do that in Teams. So if you can't for some reason, some set their website so you can't. But anyway, typically 99% of the time you can bring in basically any website on the web. It's basically like an iframe. It's just like a standard browser format, and you can use that for a number of things. So, one is to just bring in external content. The other is what Abby was referring to, which is like the web apps in SharePoint. There's a bunch of web apps in SharePoint, and you can pull those in. So, like for instance, if you wanted to pull in a calendar for the team, to have a team calendar, you could go to your SharePoint site, add that calendar web part, and then pull that in through the website tab. So that's what Abby was referring to, and it's a great way to like enhance, and this is available in all clouds. So everyone on this call in the government space should have access to the website tab. If it's not turned on, like Abby mentioned, you should. It's just something that needs to be turned on by your administrator, but you have access to it. So if you can get access to it, then you can really start using Teams more as like a platform with all those different apps pulled in directly, which is kind of nice.
Exactly. Did we have any website questions? I'm gonna take a second.
No, I think we're good right now. Shane, anything that you see?
No, I'm reading this question about Excel right now. I'm going to see if I can answer that in text.
Okay, I think we're good, Abby.
Okay, I'm gonna go back to, I know there was a question about forms, Adam. Was it a specific question, or was it how does it integrate into Teams?
I think really more of like an overview of it. Like maybe we could just show what it looks like, what you can do with it, and then how you add it to Teams, which would also be the website tab.
Yep, okay. I'm in my, of course, I'm in my, here, So I am, I tried to type it in, but I'm in a private browser, so it's not gonna give me my auto-populated search results. But I'm back in my office.com portal here, and I can actually, you can see here under all apps, you've got forms. And if you guys click on that feedback survey, you will be taken to a forms experience. Just so you know, I created that within forms. So this is what you'll see whenever you go to just the landing page of forms. You can create a new form or a new quiz. You have an option to select the forms that have been shared with you, or if there are any groups that have shared forms or created forms together, they'll be here. I probably have 20 or 30 forms right now that are active. I use it pretty frequently. We use it a lot for internally trying to get answers as far as, I remember last year I was trying to be like the social chair of our team, and I did a form to see how people would like to interact with each other. Do we want to have like a quarterly get together, a monthly get together, a weekly, in office work day, which seemed to be just a thing of the past, never going to happen again. But I used forms to get that data. And the great thing about forms is whenever you create a form, you title it, and then you can add new ways to answer questions. So you can do choice, which will be like A, B, C, D, and you type out those answers here. Or you can do a text, which is just like people answering, however they choose. You can do a rating like thumbs up or thumbs down. There's also another one which is pretty cool. I like this one. I know, Adam, you like this one too. It's like a, I don't know, this reminds me of like, I don't know, SAT questions or something. You have to kind of think of, but you can delineate, where you stand here, if it's like strongly agree, strongly disagree. It's a great way to do kind of some collect data, but in a less, direct way. There's not just two options.
Yeah, like what I've used it before is like how often, or what do you use Teams for? And then it's like, yep. I use Teams for IM and for meetings and for third-party apps. And then up top, you could have like daily, weekly, monthly, never, something like that. So it's really easy for people to kind of select in one space. Yeah.
It's like a matrix almost. So really, really great use cases here. You can also change the theme here. You can upload your own theme. It's a great tool. And then whenever you're finished, you click share, and you can select only people in your own organization can answer, or anyone with the link can respond. And then you can share that out. And then what's really great is you'll get a consolidated responses. And what'll happen is it'll tell you, you've got 86 people that responded. Here are their results, and it'll give you some visuals here. But you can also open that in Excel and create your own pivot tables, create your own bar graphs, kind of visualize the data any way you like. And then if you want to take that a step further, going back to what I talked about earlier, you could go and integrate that into Power BI, upload that to Teams, super cool, show off to your boss. Or you can do what we mentioned earlier, which is add that hot pink website tab, and then you would just select the link, where'd it go? You would select the forms link itself, and that would give you a link to the website. So if you want to see what this looks like in action, click on that survey link. Wow, I'm being pushy. Did that cover up any questions we had on forms?
I believe so. Did you also show how to tab it to a team?
Yeah, through the web
right.
page. Yep.
Yeah, cool. Yep, I think we're good then. And to answer some questions, Forms is available to anyone with Office 365. So this is, just another app. There's no additional cost or anything like that, like everything else that we're showing. It's available to you. So we have some people saying they don't have it turned, they don't see it. That's probably just because your admin has turned it off. So I would just recommend going to your administrator, to your IT group, and saying, hey, we really need to do forms and surveys. We like this tool. Can you please turn this on for us to get that?
Awesome.
And then the last thing I'll say in Forms is it summarizes the data really nicely. So it kind of automatically summarizes as responses come in. Yep. And then you can also download it to Excel. So that's it.
Awesome. So head into our last topic of the day. Is going to be our third-party applications. So those are, it's heavily going to be dependent on your agency. If your agency has enabled third-party applications, you should see several choices whenever you kind of click on this plus sign. There will be another section down here of some third parties. Also, you can click this apps button here on the left-hand toolbar, and that'll give you some other application ideas. And I'll just go ahead. For a lot of our GCC customers, I see them using Adobe Sign. I see there's over 900 available. Let me go back to the PowerPoint really quick. So over 900 of them are available, and that means that over 900 applications have been through the FedRAMP process and been approved. So some of them that we use in Microsoft, we like to use Poly. We use.
And Abby, sorry to interrupt. So actually, all the Microsoft apps have been through the FedRAMP process, but Microsoft can't confirm that the other third-party apps have gone through that process. So really, what we're doing. Yeah, and really what we're doing here is, and that's why they're not turned on by default. So it's a good point. So the stuff that's available kind of by default are the Microsoft apps that are fully secure, fully encrypted, part of the Office 365 suite, and all that. And they've been through the FedRAMP process. The stuff that hasn't been turned on by default are like those third-party apps, and the reason being, because we don't conduct those compliance audits or anything on behalf. We just connect them into teams that people want to use it. So really the onus is on you and your organization to say, hey, we use this, we like this, we want to bring this into teams. So it probably makes sense if you're already using something like Adobe Sign is a really common one. Trello is another common with my customers. Like if you're already using some of these third-party apps, it's worth just checking out to see if they're available in Teams, because there are a ton that are. And then you can go to your IT group and say, hey, we use Adobe Sign all the time. We'd love this functionality in Teams. Can you turn it on for us? And if you're already using it enterprise-wide, there really shouldn't be a reason not to turn it on. So anyway.
Just of it getting pushed through or high.
Mm-hmm.
And so basically what that would look like whenever you do, if you need to push that through and get it approved by IT or something, it would look very similar. You would just go to the channel you want to add it to, and you would do, you could search it here to find it, but you would add it to a channel. And that would look like what I've showed you guys several times today, which is just going to that addition sign, and it would appear underneath here. You could search it to here. And it would be here. You would just click on it, and then it would prompt you through each dialog box to indicate if there are any other specifications that you need to make, and then you would be able to pin it permanently to that tab bar. Any questions on third-party applications? Not a ton of data, because it's kind of a new thing that just got enabled in GCC. So we're still trying to figure out what everyone's using, what everyone loves, and hopefully getting some user stories from that experience.
No questions yet. Just have questions are trickling in, but nothing. I guess the big thing would be, I'd recommend going and checking out, like, especially if you use, I'm repeating myself here, but if you use any third-party apps, you think you might want to be able to pull them into Teams. What really makes the experience nice in Teams is you can pull in the application and then also collaborate with your team easily through Teams on it, right? Like, so for instance, you could pull in Adobe Sign and then through Teams have a conversation about who needs to do what and what the status is and all of that, you know, through Teams, and it's all in one place. Or you could pull in like Trello in the same way that it's a similar app to like Planner, you know, so you can kind of pull in Trello the same way that Abby showed Planner, like in that almost that exact same way.
Yeah.
And even have bots available in Trello and that kind of stuff. So it's, you know, so you can go to Trello and use that as a separate browser, and that's fine. But if you pull into Teams, then you can also like, you have that additional layer of chat and capabilities, and also bots that are included in Teams, which aren't actually available in, you know, out of the box through the Trello website. So there you go.
Well, that just about does it as far as app integration goes. I hope that this was helpful. We'll stay on the phone. We'll stay on the event for a little bit longer, just if there are any other questions that you have. Other than that, this recording will be available on the Point Drive link that was shared previously in this event, and feel free to go back and take a look at those. There's some great resources on that Point Drive. There's a quick start to Teams guide that's great, a great little cheat sheet. There's the end of June schedule is available there, and stay tuned for more updates on the schedule for training that'll happen probably middle of July and through August and September. We'll keep you guys informed, but thank you so much for joining.
Thanks, Abby. Thanks, everyone. If you have any remaining questions, pop them in, and if not, we'll see you at the next one. I think we're good on questions, Abby.
Yep. All righty, guys. I'll go ahead and end the live event, and thanks so much again.
Thanks, all.